that means for the rest of the items getting done. So I forwarded you guys an email copy of the letter that they sent to they sent to me, and so you guys took a look at it. Hopefully, I don't know if I can forward it. I'm not certain that's correct. So, and basically what it is it's being concerned that everything that you know we've discussed in the mediation agreement is being accomplished. There are some things that are, unfortunately, there are some things that are not. But I think the discussion of this group was basically how do we see that these things are getting accomplished and getting done. There is one little holdup that I have with the meetings that we have is that I had hoped to, if things were not getting done in mediation agreement, my hope was how do we help them get done? How do we work toward helping, things get accomplished? Because I don't want to be, to the city, I don't want to place blame. I don't want to place, we don't want to hold people's feet to the fire. We don't want to, this isn't about all that. What this is about is Kirkwood and Meacham is here. How do we get Kirkwood and Meacham to be here? How do we get to a better place, period? If accomplishing things in a mediation group gets us there, that's all well and good. How do we get there, and how do we help the city get there? And that's what it's about for me. My work with the city on the Human Rights Commission and other things that I do around the neighborhood, it's all about the work. How do I work to accomplish a better community, a healthy community? I think a lot of what we discussed in some of our meetings with the healthy groups were about how do we get the city to make sure they fulfill other things that have been fulfilled. Well, some things have been worked on, a lot of things have been worked on. I don't want to go to specifics of what has and what hasn't, but there are some things that the city has worked hard to accomplish, and maybe they got them done, and maybe they didn't. I don't know where that stands. But I'm not going to fight, be a person that's going to, hold the city feet to the fire and say, you have to get this done or else. It's not about that. But I will say to the city, if there's something that I can help get accomplished on a mediation agreement, I'm willing to help. And if John help me out, if you got something to add.
Well,
go right
I
ahead.
thought when I was looking at that about it, and all of a sudden, meeting that we had, the new chair, and one of the things that suddenly came back to me is, it seemed like everything was coming towards us, when it should have been developed along the lines, where the police had a board that they could go to, and the school could have an advisory board they could see about that. And I went to the internet and found some stuff on police advisory board, that citizens review boards, and this is a thing, in Columbia has one. And so I thought this would be a good time to really start the thing to say, okay, then the police can have theirs, people can go to someplace and to see what can be done. And then they can also listen to complaints or whatever, and then advise on policies and so forth.
I guess I want to say about that, so don't go too far down the alley. That topic of police advisory boards has come up probably 3 times since I've been working for the city. There's to the occasional against the police department, both police chiefs have a break. And I think the same would be true of the council's reaction. If there's a problem with the police department, then they ought to come to me. And if they don't think I'm dealing with it properly, then go to the city council. But to have citizens dealing with police issues, they're not trained. It's just, I guess, bottom line, it just isn't.
I think everyone read my rant about that letter. I did not like it. And there's a couple issues here we have to understand. There was a mediation agreement. There was, in effect, a contract between the council and the committee. I don't know who the Healthy Community Group is. They're making the determination that these issues were not met. There was no evidence that there's nothing in that letter telling me what happened, what was supposed to happen, what the goals were. I read the mediation agreement, there is nothing in there to objectively measure any progress or measurement. The mediation agreement would have to be rewritten with the council and the committee to determine how they're going to measure whether anything happens. I don't think we have any business going and telling anyone, you're not doing your job. And I think what we need to do is talk to the committee and see whether or not they want, how they feel they've done, whether they've met the mediation agreement goals, and if not, do they want more time to work on it? Do they think they need more time to work on it?
And I'll say this to that, the advisory committee, they're not gonna extend, like they're gonna, January, I think they meet through January, and that's it. They're not gonna meet anymore, the advisory committee.
Or Darnell, I guess the question is, and I don't know this because that part I'm not, I know what our role is in regards to, but who can answer that question? What has been done, what has not been done? Because I agree with Ed in the fact that it's not our place to tell them you should extend, but I do think that we are the ones to ask if it's just a blatant disregard and has not done, perhaps why it hasn't been done, because we were put into place as out of all of that. So if it really is, and like I said, I don't know, so I can't answer it, but I do think if there is a certain group, and as I look at the names, I mean, there are some names that I think are very level-headed people who, if it just was not done, and it was, I mean, the things that we heard, they weren't meeting, I don't know.
Right.
But if that is indeed what has taken place, I think that we are the ones just to ask, is this a true view of what is going on?
Right.
Because in my opinion, if that's what happened, if that is what is happening, then I see why people feel like there was just a lot of lip service. And that's not where we want to be at all. So we don't want anybody coming out of this, which was set up to be something that was to improve relations, to put us back where we were. And I think that someone, just to quell the feelings, if nothing else, if we can say, that was not the intent whatsoever. We did meet, and some of these things just can't be done. I mean, I can look at it and tell you that the advisory committee is not going to put in place this jobs program. Not because they don't want to. There are no jobs to put these kids in places. So we know that because we work with them every day. That's just not going to happen. So I don't know that that's from any attempt of not to do that. It's just not right now. The economy being like it is, it's just not feasible to happen.
Right.
And I think just someone to answer their questions, for written review, which I don't know if that's, if that's possible or not, or.
I don't know. My initial feeling, just from my legal background, is don't put anything in writing. I don't want them to put anything in writing. So I don't want someone to take and tear it apart and send it to the press and say how bad these people are. They're not doing a thing. But my question is, what happens if the committee decides we don't want to meet anymore, and they just let the agreement lapse? Does the mediation agreement say, well, that we can reconstitute a new committee, or does it say those people get their hands slapped?
Well, I think there's the advisory committee not meeting anymore does not mean the mediation agreement is not met. These are two separate things, they're two separate issues. The advisory group not meeting anymore, okay, so they really didn't have a ton of meetings in a couple of years leading up to this. So what I believe we should do is, or what should happen is, get some people that are involved in like police chief plumber, or even Mike, somebody, have some other meetings that go beyond what the advisory group was meeting. I think you just go another way. I don't think you are going to force people to meet. That's just not going to happen.
No, it's not. And I can't say whether they've not fulfilled the goals of the mediation. That's my biggest problem. Why should I ask someone to do something if they've already done it? Or if they're in the process of getting it completed? Will say,
What do they want? do we have an exact answer? Or have I missed it? I mean, you know, I don't always maybe get it clear, but I'm just asking the question, do we really have an exact, list, agenda, or whatever on exactly what they want, what they expected to come out of the mediation, agreement as far as the city and their group was concerned, as far as the Human Rights Commission is concerned, and what our new present role and new role after January is, so that we can have something in concrete